This is Diego, who makes our Mother Teresa statues too. He was only a child, but he knew Father Stan. He's going to share a little bit of what he remembers. And when they had the 25th anniversary, he's the one who put up the whole display of Father Stan here. They had pilgrimages of people coming to the parish.
En la calle ahí, y Padre Francisco pasa allá cerca de nuestra casa.
So he heard Father Stan was passing by his house when the kids were playing outside. He says, "Here comes Father Stan."
De corazón lo decimos.
And he knew that Father Stan learned their Suchuil language perfectly, and that's why the people of the pueblo gave him the name of Father Aplas. That means Francisco in their Suchuil language. Stan was killed.
Padre Francisco trajeron el desarrollo acá en Santiago Atitlan.
Stan brought all the progress that is here in this village.
Y crearon un hospital.
He started the hospital.
Hasta hoy está funcionando.
And it's still functioning.
Y cuando ese tiempo, cuando no había hospital, murieron muchos niños por causa de desnutrición.
And before that hospital was here, a lot of children died just from malnutrition. And he started like a kitchen for the children who were hungry.
Y también hay una radio. Ahora ya es una asociación.
He started the radio, and now it's a big association. The radio schools here in the country are marvelous because that's how people get their news. That's how so many go to school. They do health education on the radio. Everything happens on the radio.
En esa radio pasaron programas como hay un programa que se llama Maestro en Casa.
It's called The Teacher in the House. It's the radio school's Teacher in the House.
Aprendieron muchos.
That's how a lot of people in the village here of Santiago were able to go to school.
Entonces ahí en esa época, tiempo de la guerra.
And that was during the time of the war.
El Padre Francisco, cuando los catequistas o algunas personas importantes del pueblo ya estaban perseguidos por los militares.
And a lot of the catechists and important people of the pueblo were being persecuted by the military.
Entonces, Padre lo acogieron acá a refugiar.
So, Father Stan came here to hide. Actually, he slept in a different room every night because he knew the military were after him. But the particular night that he was killed, he was sleeping in this room.
Por esa razón lo tacharon que uno de los guerrilleros, el padre, serían ustedes, porque ustedes tienen arma en sus manos, porque cuando no vinieron ustedes, no habían muertos.
Okay. Stan always took a risk to tell the truth. He'd have catechist meetings here, and there was another massacre. And at another time, the military came in and he asked everybody here who was responsible for this massacre. And Stan stood up and said, "Well, of course you were, because you're the only people who have arms." Yeah, and during that time there's a lot of torture going on.
En la planta de los pies, la piel se quita y se echa sal y limón y lleva a caminar.
And so often what they would do, they'd take the machete and just rip off the skin of your leg, and then they'd put salt and lemon in and just make people, just torture people in unbelievable ways.
Y yo cuando era niña escuchamos balazos por las calles.
And when he was a little child, he just always heard the guns going off.
Sí, es terrible lo que pasó.
It was horrible things that happened here.
Y es claramente, seguramente que son los ejércitos los que mataron. El padre, su testigo acá habló en Santiago.
Okay, and in the beatification process, one of the witnesses here said that for sure they know it was the military who killed Stan.
Y cuando en ese momento los mismos ejércitos tiraron como un arma aquí frente a la iglesia. Punidad en Guatemala, ¿verdad?
Yeah, there's just so much impunity here in Guatemala. Even the witnesses who saw what happened, they say, no, that didn't really happen that way. You'll be able to see the bullet holes here on the floor. And in back of the cross, when he was killed, the city was in such an uproar because they absolutely loved this priest. Where one of the sisters got up in church and all night long just led prayers and singing to help the people go through their grieving. In the meantime, Father Greg was called, and our sister Linda Warner was one of the first sisters to come over here. And the story that I understand is she was able to wipe up the blood. All they had was rags and a peanut butter jar, but she was able to be present during that really sacred time. And Linda had a lot to do with helping to translate that book, A Shepherd Cannot Run. And that's what Stan believed. You know, if you're a pastor, if you're a pastoral agent with the people, if they're being persecuted, you don't leave the country, you try to stay with them and accompany. But Stan knew the military was after him, and he put up a fight. He was a big man, but they got him.
Si hubiera vivo Padre Francisco, el pueblo está más desarrollado. Porque estoy dando cuenta ahorita la diferencia, el tiempo de los líderes de hoy y el tiempo de la
He said, now if Father Stan were still living, you would see much more development in this town. He says, our leaders now just don't have that energy and passion that he had.
Sí, y el Padre Francisco le acercaron más almas a Dios. Tengo una foto antigua.
He has an old picture here. Coming here sometimes, they have like 500 weddings at a time, and he's saying, you know, the priests here just don't get the kind of participation that Stan did. He's showing us this was one of the wedding ceremonies that Stan had. The people didn't even fit in the church. This is just outside the church. He's trying to say how the people love Stan, and you know, there was a lot more participation in the church and the pueblo. Stan really encouraged the people, if they were getting married, to get married together, to save your money. You don't have to have all these individual celebrations. Have a celebration as a community. Does anybody have any questions for Diego? They still need a couple miracles, so this is your time to pray for the miracle you need in your own life. Todavía está buscando milagros de Padre Stan.
Sí, ajá, sí.